Let's be honest, most of what comes out of Hollywood these days makes a mockery of America, but there's still a place telling stories that remind us why this country is worth celebrating. That place is Angel Studios. Like Sound of Freedom, a powerful true story that exposes the horrors of child trafficking, something to stand for with Mike Rowe, an incredible tribute to ordinary Americans who risked everything to defend liberty. And The Last Rodeo, a heartland drama about a bull riding veteran who comes out of retirement to save his grandson. It's the kind of storytelling Hollywood forgot how to do. Go to angel.com/Charlie and become a premium Angel Guild member today. Support entertainment that builds something worth passing on.
Now streaming on Angel.
Honored to be with you as always. You can email us freedom@charliekirk.com. It is a beautiful summer day. Where were we at this point in Trump 1.0? We are now in the midst of Trump 2.0. We are getting trade deals. We have a secure border. We got a tax cut. We got incredible funding for mass deportations. We're doing mass deportations. We're ending wars between the Congo and Rwanda, between Pakistan and India, between Israel and Iran. We have incredible trade deals that are coming through with Japan. But where were we at this moment back in July of 2017? I went to the New York Times archive page, which is fun to do, kind of see what was on the front page of the newspapers back during Trump 1.0. It's almost looking through a time capsule. Front page of the New York Times, exactly 8 years ago today. As Congress aims to punish Russia, Trump faces bind. You read this article, it's remarkable. Put up 366. Congress's number one focus, while we had a Republican House and a Republican Senate during Trump 1.0, was to punish Russia. Why? Because they say they interfered with the 2016 election. Donald Trump's first term was largely taken from him. In fact, we want to talk about the stolen presidency. We should be talking about what happened in the first, second, and third year of the Trump administration. The Republican House and the Republican Senate both had Russia investigations ongoing. They were investigating their own president. Remember, Jeff Sessions recused himself in March of 2017, March 2nd, 2017. So President Donald Trump did not even have his own attorney general. He never should have recused himself. It was a terrible mistake. And then Bob Mueller was appointed as a special counsel in May of 2017 to basically be able to marauder around after all allies around the Trump administration. Republicans led this against Donald Trump. So we go back into this moment in Trump 1.0. We were not doing trade deals. We did not have, he was fighting like mad to try to secure the border and do all this. But every hour on the hour, another Russia lie came to the surface. President Donald Trump had to push back the salvos that were coming from Capitol Hill. And you're seeing on your screen, this was the front page of the New York Times at this moment during the first Trump term. Congress reaches deal on Russia sanctions, setting up tough choice for Trump. This is before Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine. We were sanctioning Russia based on a lie. Donald Trump was fighting as hard as he's ever fought to just keep his head above water, let alone do trade deals or put forward some sort of monumental or significant policy agenda. This was all BS, and we are learning that now. Tulsi Gabbard, who is doing a phenomenal job as Director of National Intelligence, she has come out with some bombshell revelations. And we're going back into a time warp all the way back into 2016. Now, we know that Hillary Clinton lost the election to Donald Trump. It was a big upset. There was a major election forecaster who said he would eat a bug if he was wrong about Clinton winning, and then he had to go eat a bug. Hillary's loss was shocking and humiliating. And when politicians get humiliated, they go hunting for excuses. They never take ownership for their decisions. They never assume personal responsibility. And what was the excuse that they decided to communicate? What was the consensus excuse? The consensus excuse was Russia, because that excuse had multiple benefits for the D.C. ruling class, had multiple benefits for the uniparty Republicans and uniparty Democrats. Not only was Russia very hateable for the octogenarian 88-year-old senator who still thinks the Cold War is going on, but it allowed for a new theater for the neocons to create a new war. So the war contractors, the war machine, and the endless military conflict position of D.C. had a new emphasis to focus on. Almost overnight, the new inventive narrative was that Donald Trump only won because Russia intervened with fake news and cyber warfare to hack our democracy. Every night, Rachel Maddow would get massive numbers. She would get 4, 5, 6 million people watching her a night when she would just peddle lie after lie after lie. Adam Schiff, who is now a U.S. Senator, went on television and said that there is verifiable proof. Let's get that clip where he said that Donald Trump colluded with the Kremlin. The chief driver of the Russia conspiracy theory was a report from the outgoing Obama administration. The report, published in January of 2017, claimed that Russia extensively interfered in the 2016 election with the explicit goal of defeating Hillary Clinton and getting Trump elected. This report justified almost everything that happened in the following year. And let's go back to the front page of the New York Times. So the report that the Obama administration did, it was a mine. It was a time bomb that was inserted underneath the Trump presidency. The report justified almost all of this then. It justified the FBI to entrap President Trump and Michael Flynn. It justified the Mueller probe. It justified the years of media hysteria. It practically wrecked the first Trump administration right out of the gate. The fact that Trump got anything done in the first administration while having to deal with all this garbage from our own intel services is a remarkable accomplishment. And now we know, thanks to Tulsi Gabbard, it was all a fabrication from the beginning. Today, Tulsi Gabbard declassified a House Intel Committee report from 2020, which was kept under wraps until now. The report, across 47 pages, reveals in shocking detail how shoddy, inept, and half-baked the original claims of the Russia hoax were. Quote, the director of the CIA ordered the post-election publication of 15 reports containing previously collected but unpublished intelligence. 3 of the reports were substandard, containing information that was unclear, of uncertain origin, potentially biased, or implausible. These 3 reports became the foundational sources for the intelligence community, saying that their judgments that Putin preferred Trump over Clinton. The ICA misrepresented these reports as reliable without mentioning their significant underlying flaws. In fact, the claim that Vladimir Putin wanted Trump to win the election was based entirely on one quote, one scant, unclear, unverifiable fragment of a sentence from just one of the substandard reports. Scant, unclear, unverifiable, substandard torpedoed a majority of Trump's first administration. This is what Russiagate was based on. And for those of you that don't remember this, I want to bring you back into that moment. We had a special counsel, Bob Mueller. We didn't have an attorney general. It's all the media cared about. And there were sanctions of a foreign country that we were preparing to go to war against, a kinetic part of a major war against Russia, all based on a lie from the intel services. Russiagate, that derailed the entire focus of our nation, was a legitimate conspiracy theory. It was a legitimate lie in front of us. They bugged Trump's phone calls. They impeached Donald Trump because of a phone call to Zelensky. A fragment of a sentence from one low-quality intelligence report of unclear origin. That's the only evidence the CIA ever had for Vladimir Putin wanting Trump to win in 2016. But that did not stop the entire Democrat base from getting behind it. It did not stop Rachel Maddow from getting record numbers every single night. It did not stop the Democrat Party from saying that the Republican Party was infiltrated with Russian influence. It did not stop the New York Times and every major outlet to drumbeat every day. It was a soft coup against popular sovereignty and against the will of the American people. You could make an argument that the first Trump administration was largely stolen from the American people. Yes, President Trump was allowed to remain as president, but he had to fight with every ounce of energy he had just to be able to survive. And we, the people, got hosed. And I want you to remember back of how sick and damaged things were back in 2017 because of this. And Barack Obama was the designer of all of this. I think it's time for people to go to jail for this. This is far worse than a 75-year-old grandma walking into the U.S. Capitol on January 6th and saying a prayer with a pocket constitution. Here's James Comey, John Brennan, Hillary Clinton peddling what they knew was a lie. Brennan is easily the number one villain in this declassified report. He is a sinister human being. All roads lead back to John Brennan. He basically took the intelligence and shaped it into a Trump hit job. Let's play cut 365, please.
The Russians interfered in our election during the 2016 cycle. It is a high confidence judgment of the entire intelligence community.
It was Russia in a very systematic way tried to interfere in the election and to try to advance the prospects of Donald Trump being elected.
Donald Trump knows that the Russians helped him win in 2016. There will always be an air of illegitimacy around the 2016 campaign.
Okay, so this is what's really important. Nobody disputes that Russia did some, just opaque political digital stuff in the 2016 election. But here's the part that Brennan made up and Hillary repeated it. To advance the prospects of Trump being elected. That is the mega lie, where he threw out all the evidence. Russia wanted to create chaos and distrust. Mission accomplished. Good job, Democrats. So, John Brennan, and again, that's not in front of Congress. He's there on MSNBC in 2019 peddling a grotesque lie. And the consequences of it was nonstop media obsession. Nonstop. And there's another consequence as well. One that's right in front of us that's still happening to this day. Let's first play cut 368.
So disappointing to look at what we're seeing from right-wing media these days, where there's such an obsession with the deep state and these revelations about the Russia probe. Latest on the Robert Mueller Russia investigation. Mueller investigation, the Russia investigation, Trump's Russia ties, and Robert Mueller. The real Russia story, Russia probe, the ongoing Russia probe, the Russia investigation. But Mueller and the Russia probe, Russia synergies, they wonder if Russia has compromising information on the president. What is the source for the president's claim that they have found no collusion with Russia? He misspelled collusion. Every day we're trying to keep track of the drip, drip, drip of the Russia investigation. Drip, 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 Trump and Russia, to see whether Trump was secretly working for Russia.
And that's just a little taste of one anchor on one show on one network. Multiply that times 1,000 for every single day. And I only do this to bring you back into the time and place. And now we look at Trump 2.0. And we're getting trade deals, and we're securing border, and we're getting tax cuts. And of course, we have so much more to do. And they did that relentlessly for years because they needed to find an excuse. But understand that sanctioning a country is a big deal. So Congress went about to sanction Russia for something Russia did not ultimately do. Yeah, they wanted to sow chaos and distraction, even though it was a very small amount. And Iran does this, and the Chinese Communist Party does this in their own way. Is the current hot war between Russia and Ukraine and the West's involvement of it, is it connected to Russiagate? Almost certainly. Because Russia was the filler-in excuse as to why Donald Trump became president, which then gave the Democrat Party license to be able to finance the Ukrainian war effort. Russia was also sitting on a ton of information. This is page 17 of the now declassified House Intelligence Report. Russia was sitting on a huge amount of potential anti-Clinton dirt that it sat on throughout the final days of the 2016 campaign. It included internal claims that Hillary was on heavy tranquilizers and suffering from intensified psycho-emotional problems. We suspected that. Evidence of severe health ailments like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. Internal DNC comms found that Obama and others said that Hillary's health was extraordinarily alarming. Evidence of secret meetings with religious leaders where Clinton offered, quote, significant increases in funding from the State Department in return for their support. Oh, you mean the same stuff that we accused them of? Internal Democrat admissions that European allies were unenthusiastic about a Clinton presidency and thought she was not up to the job of heads of state. So if Russia was really all in on supporting Trump and hurting Clinton, it would have leaked information in October 2016 when her lead in the RCP average slipped to just plus 1.3 points. Instead, Russia did not completely debunk the core assumptions of the Russia hoax. Rather than admit they were wrong, Brennan's CIA buried the info and manufactured a completely alternative reality to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump. I say this for many reasons, but one that I want to repeat. Let's be grateful to God and how much better of a place we are on July 23rd, 2025 than we were in 2017.